Hello everyone, Brian King here. Today's project, I'm going to be reskinning this entire countertop with carbon fiber cloth. Like I said, it's looking pretty rough. Needless to say, I'm going to fill all the holes and whatnot on there, and hopefully this project turns out good. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm patching all the holes from previous, who knows what was on there. I'm using some body filler. Okay, so now what I'm doing is sanding all this filler that I put on the holes and stuff. And what I've done across the front here, I've actually filled in all the nail holes. And then what I'm going to do after all that is I'm going to run a router and bevel that whole nose, make it all nice and smooth again, because this is pretty uneven. Alright, now that I got all the carbon fiber cut up, now it's time to roll it back up, and we're going to try to get it on the countertop next. Boy, that old countertop sure looks ugly. Alright, here we go! Wow, look at that sweet carpet on there. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm attaching these little nails with plastic tabs on them. What I'm doing is basically just knocking them onto the edge here. That way it holds that carbon in place when I start to pour the resin on it. That way it doesn't float off of there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some of this 3M Super 77 right along this face here. And then what I'm going to do after that, I'm going to run that whole strip all the way down, and then I'm going to take the carbon and I'm just going to lay it, press it on there, and it should help it stick quite a bit. And then I'll start tacking it along the bottom, kind of like what I did along the top. So I pretty much got everything taped up. I didn't want to bore you with that section of the video. At least everything's all covered, so when I start pouring the epoxy, that'll be the drip catcher. Alright, here's what I'm using for the first layer of epoxy. Stuff from Pro Set. Been about 4 hours. I got the first coat all done. It's pretty solid. Obviously it looks pretty rough yet because, like I said, it's just skinning. It's getting fabric down and getting that first coat of epoxy set up in it. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm actually taking a piece of black tape and I'm putting it around the edge just to have a nice clean cut. And then I'll take my heat gun and I'll get that heat on that sticker, or the tape I mean, and that'll actually help it bond to this before I put the next coat on there. Basically this will all be encapsulated, but as you can tell it's a pretty clean cut with that tape on there. Otherwise it's kind of rough from the edge of the carbon fiber. You look real close there. So anyways, just taking some black tape and lay it along that whole lip and it'll give it a nice clean cut. now I've got the first coat of epoxy on the table here. Still setting up and dripping. Not really too worried about the floor because I'm going to be replacing it in case you wondered. But anyways, here's the first coat. So it's the next morning and everything's looking pretty good. Epoxy's all set up, but there's a few little things I'm not happy with, so I'm going to do a third coat. I'm going to sand a few spots flat and then recoat it. That way everything will be nice and flat. Well, turned out pretty good. Good and solid. It's got a nice finish to it. One question remains. Now that there's carbon fiber on this countertop, is this countertop lighter?